Yeah, I think we are live. All right, we may have a few other people joining us very, very shortly. So let them join in as and when is convenient to them. I'll just give a very short introduction to me and to August Academy, and then we can get into your questions, right? So August Academy is my company, and we've been running it since 2013. We work with maybe more than 250 students in the interim. And we've had a lot of good success with all of our candidates so far. A good number of our candidates have gotten into colleges ranked in the top 20 or so, not just in the US, but also in Europe, in India, and in Asia. So within the US, we've had people getting into Harvard, Kellogg, Booth, MIT, Darden, Columbia. In Europe, we've had candidates getting into all top 5 or top 6 colleges, including INSEAD, IIM A, London Business School, Oxford, Cambridge, HEC, IISA, and so on. In India, definitely we've had people getting into ISB, and then the executive programs at IIM Ahmedabad, Bangalore, and Calcutta. And finally, in the Asia region, we've had people getting into NUS, NTU, HKUST, so on and so forth, SEEBS as well. So we've been very fortunate, and we are definitely not complacent. We want to continue this, and if possible, do even better in the years to come. So that's our mission, and that's our vision as well. About me, my name is Karthik, and I run August Academy. I've been running it since 2013, as you may have figured. And my background is I'm an engineer as well. I am a graduate of IIT Madras and Stanford. I got my PhD from there. I worked in the corporate sector for a while, and then I somehow wasn't feeling very fulfilled. And the exact reason why I wasn't feeling very fulfilled was because the work I was doing seemed very technical, and sometimes I felt I wasn't having a big impact on the business, and I wanted to have a lot of impact on the business. I wanted to amaze my customers. I wasn't even getting to meet my customers in my technical role, right? So that is something that I wanted to change. And for a short while in the middle, I thought an MBA would help me do that. I got into the executive program at Stanford. I couldn't take it up for a few reasons, but that was also the same month that I started August Academy. So this was January 2013 when all of this happened. I just made up my mind that, if I can't pursue that path at this point in time, at least let me help others pursue the same thing, right? But before you know it, this became much bigger than just myself. And it wasn't about just me experimenting with another career path or anything. It's just that we got good results, and then lots of great candidates started approaching August Academy, and then it just started building up one on top of each other. And then before I knew it, it became a full-fledged organization and a mission of sorts, right? And that's what I'm continuing today. All right, that's enough about me and August Academy. And this is really about you and the kind of questions you have. So please introduce yourself. Let me know how I can help you, and I'll see if I can.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes, Karthik, go for it.
Yeah, so my name is also Karthik, and I am basically from the consulting background, the IT consulting background. And yeah, I've been working for 3.5+ years in Hyderabad. And I'm looking to now go for further studies, specifically MBA, a global MBA, basically. And that is what I wanted to, that is why I wanted to reach out to you. I came across August Academy from a recommendation, and I just wanted to discuss the services, the pricing, and the chances.
Sure. I mean, definitely happy to help. Is there any specific question that you have at this point?
Yeah, so you mentioned a couple of schools, right? Stanford, Harvard, but I just wanted to know what kind of profiles these students had. Were they the typical Indian male engineer background,
I mean, you
or they
start
had
out as
some.
an Indian male engineer and then you do a lot of other things beyond that as well.
Yeah,
So typically, it is expected that you perform at very high levels and also have good Gmat scores to get into the top, not just the top two or three, but even the top 15 or 20 colleges. I think the better way to approach it is talk about your background and then see, uh, what we can do there, right? I mean, why would you want to like work backwards from? Uh, I mean, if it helps you, definitely, yeah. Yeah, let me know. I mean, how would that help?
sorry, was that a question to me?
Yeah, Gatik. I mean, there is no typical candidate who gets into Harvard or Stanford or Wharton, other than the fact that they've done extremely well at work and also on their relevant exams and all that. I think that's the broad.
I see.
Someone's calling persistently. I'm so sorry about this. I need to put this in do not disturb. Yeah. Yeah. So tell me, Karthik, what more? What other questions do you have?
So, can I ask questions about my profile or?
Absolutely, yes. Yeah.
So I did try to apply last year. I couldn't get in. I have a score of 710 right now. I was looking to improve that score, but was unable to do it yet.
Okay.
I'm thinking of improving it probably next year, but I still
Okay.
want to apply this year round two.
Okay.
And I'm looking at a certain number of colleges, but just want to know what level of colleges I should be realistically looking at as of
Okay.
now.
What is
With
your
the
GMAT score?
710.
710. Okay. And you work in what kind of company?
So it's Deloitte.
Deloitte, right? And in an IT consulting role, I think, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. 710, you're probably looking at colleges ranked roughly around 20 to 30, 35.
Global, right? Or is it just the US?
In the US, yes. Yeah. What kind of colleges did you apply to last year?
Last year applied to Tepper,
Okay.
and I guess that was a bit premature. But this year I was thinking maybe more work experience, good career progression,
Mhm.
and what impact would that play this year?
Yeah. I mean, we'll have to examine this on a case by case basis. I think broadly, the typical Indian candidate with a 710, that's the kind of recommendation I would make. But once in a while, there is somebody who comes to us and then they've demonstrated uh, something special in their career paths, right? So it's a little hard for me to define that A is special or B is special or C is special. But then when I look at it, I would be able to recognize it as special, right? So if we feel like there's something like that in your backstory, then yeah, definitely we can try for something ranked higher. I can tell you that I work with somebody with a 710 and this year, and he's got interview invites from Columbia and Cornell already. But this is not the typical scenario, right? I mean, he's not like an engineer working in a standard role in a corporation, or he's none of those things. So I think what I'm trying to say here is we need to open up your resume. We need to look at what kind of personal stories you have. We need to understand if there's something special. And if yes, then yeah, we can definitely push you up. We would want to push you up. If this seems to be in line with what most people your age group are doing, then we'll broadly be driven by Gmail.
I see.
What are the questions, Karthik?
What difference would a European college make? Because I'm not really restricted to US. It's just
Mhm.
about the education for me. But
Okay.
still, getting a global MBA is a must for me rather than ISB. But I'll still try to ISB.
Mhm.
But the priority is still a global level MBA. So I was also looking at European colleges.
Okay.
Now, does a 710 boost? So can I get a good college considering I have a 710 in the European region?
Okay. That again, it really depends on your stories. Your GMAT may not be that much of a bottleneck with regards to Europe, but still, I mean, it is expected that if you want to crack the top 5, which is INSEAD, London, Oxford, Cambridge, and HEC, you will need to have something extra special in your background. Okay. But if you are somewhat center of the pack for somebody in your industry and for somebody with your level of experience, then the top 5 may not work, even though the GMAT itself won't be the bottleneck. We'll have to look outside of the top
5. Okay.
Yeah.
And European colleges generally have 1-year MBAs, right?
Generally,
and
yes. Yeah.
My idea was to, network, meet, be in that MBA environment, be with people who have who are looking to go into a similar path, management, leadership, and those sort of roles, right? So does it make a difference in terms of 1-year exposure versus 2-year exposures? And is that a reason why a lot of students choose the US MBA, which is predominantly 2-year course?
That's an interesting question. For some students, it could be the reason why they choose a US MBA over a European MBA or vice versa. But for a large number of students, it may not even be anything to do with the number of years that you're studying. It can just be that they want to spend the rest of their lives in Europe, or they want to spend the rest of their lives in the US, right? So that could just be the difference for a lot of students. All things said and done, definitely, I think studying for 2 years is better than studying for 1 year. So if you have the time for it, then I would definitely recommend that you take up a 2-year MBA instead of 1-year MBA. But that's not, again, a very strong reason. There are some people who may just want to live in Europe, right? I mean, you may have like a fiance in Europe, or conversely, a fiance in the US, right? And you may want to be spending the rest of your life there, right? So those are the dominant reasons why people choose. The second reason why people choose one territory or the other is the perception of job opportunities, which is typically better in the US because, technology industry and consulting, both of these are biggest in the US, right, compared to Europe. The third reason, if at all, would be visa situations, in which case some European countries and Canada do better than the US, right? So these are typically 3 perceived reasons for why people choose one territory versus another. Only 4th on the list would be 2-year MBA versus 1-year MBA. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah,
I don't really have any other questions.
Sure. Yeah, we can definitely discuss the packages and all that in just a little bit after I answer questions from Yash and Suman.
Sure.
Yash, I know we spoke very recently, but is there anything you would like to add, or is there any other question that you have?
Yep. Hi, Karthik. Hi, everyone. So just a very brief intro about myself. I'm Yash, and I have roughly around 4.5 years of work experience. And I'm a male engineer with a score of 710. So, yep. Karthik, just want to ask one thing. I know that a lot of weightage is given to international exposure as well as one of the important metrics while evaluating profile. So when we say international exposure, what exactly do we mean? That should we have like an experience wherein we have gone out and worked, or because after COVID, like those opportunities kind of reduced of going outside the country and working, right? But nevertheless, like I have exposure of working with like directors and partners in the firm, right? In like with US, with even I've worked in a couple of projects with Europeans. So does that count as an international exposure?
Okay. Yes and no, Yash. It is international exposure, most definitely. From that point of view, the straightforward answer to your question is yes, it does. But the other aspect here is if we have 100 people in a room, how many people can say the same thing, right? And in today's world, I think from 100 people, unless you're working with the Indian government, actually, I was working with a government person last year who made it to Harvard, in fact, Harvard Kennedy. And he was also working with people from abroad, right? I mean, he was working with people from the World Bank. So I think in today's world, almost every profession, people are working with foreign counterparts, right? It's a very common thing. So while it is international exposure, it's not going to help you much because all your competitors are going to have the same thing, right? Plus or minus. So what few of your competitors will have is actually sitting in a foreign location and working. So definitely that is preferable to just working in a multinational team. This is with regards to colleges like INSEAD, which emphasize this, right? For all other colleges, it really doesn't matter. Like most US colleges or even within Europe, London Business School or HEC or Oxford or Cambridge, they would like you to work with international people just to ensure that you are comfortable in a multicultural setting, but they don't make that a decision criteria, right? There it shouldn't make a difference.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Yep.
But having said that, I've also had people get into INSEAD who had absolutely no international experience. So even there, all that is just a caveat. If you have superlative personal experience, I mean, I think even they would want to look at it.
Okay. Yep. Got it.
Any other questions?
No, Karthik, not as of now. I think okay.
Yeah, sounds good. Hi, Suman, how are you?
Well and good. Thank you.
Hi. What are your questions, Suman?
So, can I ask in Hindi?
I don't understand Hindi.
Okay,
If
sir. Oh,
Karthik or Yash can translate for me, then that's fine.
No, sir. I can speak in English, but
Okay.
I was just asking.
Okay. Yeah.
Sir, I wanted to ask, sir. Actually, I have got 470 score in my Gmat,
Okay.
and I have just got 43 in quant. And my verbal score has decreased to 14 only.
Okay.
And sir, I wanted to get any B school which provide a Gmat waiver, and I want the top B schools which provide Gmat waiver.
Okay. Okay.
So, sir, could you recommend me any of the colleges which could provide Gmat waiver, and they are even the top colleges of Canada?
Okay. So again, there's a two-level answer for that, Suman. The Gmat waiver is something that a lot of colleges were doing last year because people are finding it difficult to take the Gmat. Okay. But at August Academy, we were typically of the opinion that for Indian candidates, especially from typical backgrounds, we didn't recommend the Gmat waiver to anybody. Okay. The reason we didn't recommend the Gmat waiver because we were also observing that a lot of people were actually taking the Gmat and scoring very well on it also. Yeah. So when a lot of people are able to take the Gmat and score well, what reason would you have for not taking the Gmat, right? So that is the alternative. So for that reason, we were not recommending that. This year, having said all that, I am working with 3 people who are using a Gmat waiver. Okay. All 3 of them have reasonably strong reasons for why they are unable to take the Gmat. So, I mean, again, I do think they can make exceptional attempts to take the Gmat even in their current circumstances. But you know, if they explain their circumstances and said they were unable to take the Gmat, I would not be able to question them back on that, right?
Okay.
So because they are unable to take the Gmat, they have no choice but to apply with the Gmat waiver, right? But even with all 3 of them, I've told them that the chances of getting in to your target colleges, we may not be able to predict it. And then they said, no, Karthik, I understand. And then I'm willing to take the risk. And then, you know, I think that's the circumstance under which we are proceeding with them.
Okay.
In your case, think about whether there is any exceptional circumstance in your case which is disallowing you from taking the GMAT, right? In such a scenario, maybe it is worth it for you to explore the GMAT waiver option. But if it is just that you are unable to get to a good target score, and because of that you are exploring the GMAT waiver, then I would probably not recommend that pathway for you. Okay. But anyway, I mean, I'm just a coach and a consultant. I don't make decisions on the admissions process. The decisions on the admissions process is made by the admissions committee. So you make the final choice, you talk to them, you propose that you want a waiver, and they will accept their waiver or not. They are the people who can comment finally. My recommendation is most colleges in the top 20, top 25 are offering waivers to candidates who are unable to take the GMAT. So it will recommend you to correspond with them. And then from the top 20, 25 colleges, it may be possible that about 4 or 5 colleges will respond favorably to you. And then you can apply to those colleges. So that is the process I would recommend. Let me take the word recommend back. That is the process you need to follow, right? If you are going for the waiver. I wouldn't recommend that. The recommended option is still prepare, take some extra coaching if necessary, and get to the 650 mark at least. I think it should be possible. Your quant score is, I wouldn't say it's a great quant score, but it's not a bad quant score. Your verbal, I think it is possible for you to increase by at least another 10, 15 points. It should be possible. Yeah. So if you're able to increase your quant by another 3 or 4 points and your verbal by another, let's say 15 points, I think you can very easily make it to 650. No questions there. How have you been preparing for the GMAT?
So actually, I took coaching from Visaco, and the education, the tutor of quant was good, but the tutor of English was not good at all.
Okay. Visaco. I think this is Mr. Bhaskar, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, yeah. I've heard good things about Bhaskar, but I've not interacted with him so far. You can try an alternative. Sometimes it is possible that a different approach to tutoring works for certain students. So some options that are recommended are GMAT is good. Visaco is also good. I've had people get good results from Visaco, but because you've tried that, I'm recommending other options. eGMAT is an option. Magoosh is an option. Then there is this company called Gmat Wiz, GMAT-WHIZ.
Okay.
So try these 3. I do believe all 3 are offering online options. So regardless of where you are in India, I think you can always interact with them, and then you can find out. I'm hearing a lot of people improving their score from the 400s to the 700s, right? So whether you get as far as 750 or not, at least if you're able to get to 676, no, I mean, don't laugh it off. It is possible. So definitely give it a shot. But one thing that may happen is this preparation will take some time.
So actually, when I took my exam, actually my age is now 28, and it was like a do or die situation for me while I was giving the GMAT, because I'm not so much financially secure, and that's why I was thinking that
so Suman, I'll pause you for a little bit.
Yes,
okay.
Yes,
again, I gave this explanation, and I think when I gave this explanation, only Karthik was there on the call. We are live on YouTube also. I mean, of course, nobody's going to recognize you or anything, but I would not ask you to share too much personal information. Yeah. Go on, Suman.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's why, sir, I have dropped the plan to give GMAT again.
Okay. Let me broadly make a suggestion here. There's a lot of candidates who work with us who are the oldest candidate I've worked with for a regular MBA application must have been around 34 or 35. Okay. And it was successful. So let's hold on to that on the one side. The youngest candidate must have been 22, 23. So even though I myself say that you need at least 4 years of experience, 5 years at the time of joining business school, I've worked with candidates with as little as 2 years and as much as 13 or 14 years for the regular MBA program. Now, if you have some personal situations that are requiring you to apply this year or as early as possible, then that's something that we can definitely discuss in a personal call. So you can let me know, and then I can advise you accordingly, and we can have a discussion on a personal basis at a later point. But broadly, for most candidates, if you don't have any constraints, then I would just say take some 6 months to 8 months to prepare for the GMAT, which is the time it takes, and then move your application from this year to next year. That's the standard advice I would give. Whether it's tailored advice suitable for you or not, we'll discuss it on a one-to-one. Suman, are you with us? Hello. Am I audible?
Yes. I think
Okay.
someone dropped off.
Okay. All right. So I think Karthik had this question about our packages and pricing and all that. I can definitely send you some videos where we discussed our counseling process, and I can send you a spreadsheet with our current fee structure as well. So please just ping me on email, and I'll be happy to forward this to you, Karthik. Let me also take some time to explain this. When somebody signs up with us, the first thing we do is we ask them for some background information. So I'll share some questions, and then I'll request you to write down some answers. So this part of the process, people take about 10 to 15 days. Someone looking at R2 and someone looking at about 5 to 6 colleges in R2, we would request them to finish in about 7 or 8 days, because we are already past the middle of October, which means we have about 45, 50 days for round 2 deadlines, right? So the earlier we finish this, the better. Following this, we will get into shortlisting mode, and I will propose a few colleges. I've already given both of you a range, and it's actually the same range that I've given both of you. Yeah. Whether it goes above or below that range, I think we'll have to discuss it individually based on your personal situations, and it's likely to go up or low for both of you separately, right? It really depends on your end. Then the next part is where we get into the application process itself. And within the application process, we will help you with 3 things: the essays, the letters of recommendation, and finally the resume. Okay. We have 2 levels of packages. One's the comprehensive tier of packages, and the other is the ultra tier of packages. And the comprehensive tier, what happens is we have a limit of 1 brainstorming call per college. And in the ultra tier, we don't have that limit. But we do have a soft limit, which is if you have a call today, then the next call needs to be at least 7 days away, right? So we have this minimum distance between 2 calls. That's the only constraint. But other than that, we are open to as many calls as required. There's a slight difference with regards to interview prep as well. Our 3-school comprehensive package, interview prep is included by default. Sorry, our 3-school comprehensive package, it's not there by default. We charge separately for it. Our 5-school comprehensive, our 3-school ultra, and our 5-school ultra, it's there by default. Okay. In terms of fee structure, for the 3-school comprehensive, we charge 1,95,000 plus GST. For the 5-school comprehensive, which includes interview prep, we charge 2,50,000 plus GST. For the 3-school ultra, we charge 275 plus GST, and for the 5-school ultra, we charge 340 plus GST. You don't have to memorize this. You can just send me an email, and I'll be happy to forward this to you. Any questions?
No, nothing from me.
Okay, sounds good. Yeah, sounds good. All right. Yeah, we will be posting this video on YouTube as well, and there are some people who may be watching this at a later point in time. For the benefit of those people, we will be splitting this into mini chapters so that some individual questions can be asked here and there. And you can just click on those chapter titles and then you'll be taken to that part of the discussion, right? So maybe not everything that we discussed today is relevant to every audience member. So you can just look at what is relevant to you and go there and watch it. And a final request that we would have at a later point in time is please like, share, and subscribe, because it helps YouTube pick up our video and show it to similar people with similar interests, and that helps us expand our brand a little bit. Thanks, guys, and definitely wish you all the best with your applications. And if you wish to work with us, please let me know. The next step is for us to have a one-to-one call. We'll have a small charge associated with that. And then after that, you can sign up for our packages, and then we'll subtract that charge.
Thank you.
Okay, Karthik, thank